Out of 10 ratings.
Out of
Where is
10.
this for you? I believe Eric Voss gave it 8.8.
I'm going 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Okay.
For Marvel, I'm giving it a straight 10.
10?
For Marvel movies, I'm giving this a 10
let's
in my
go.
book. And overall, I would give it also probably a 9 or an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's still very high on my list.
Yeah, super high.
Welcome back to the break room. We just saw the Fantastic Four.
We are the Fantastic
Five with our friends. And we are excited to talk about 2025's final big superhero movie.
Ooh.
We've been in this gauntlet this summer of big superhero releases, and this is kind of the last one for a while.
I don't like that you completely overshadowed the Naked Gun coming out.
That is true.
A different hero.
I will be pre-buying tickets. I shit you not.
Different.
I already got my ticket for it. I'm so excited for that movie.
Hell yeah!
It
Go
looks
watch
so
that
funny.
trailer if you haven't seen it. It's great.
Can't wait to see what those popcorn buckets look like. The first one that you buy with a built-in hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. But we are going to give this is our review episode for Fantastic Four. We've already got New Rockstars has the breakdown, is live up on that channel. We're going to try to answer questions that you might have coming out of the film. We're going to address some of our own questions. We're going to talk about the things we loved, anything we might have preferred to be different. We're getting into everything fantastic today on the break room.
We'll be announcing the marital date for Jess and Galactus right here.
I'm so happy to be Miss Galactus. It's actually look at us, perfect for each other.
You're gonna hyphenate Clemons Galactus.
I might just go by Galactus. I might just get rid of the first, middle, and last. Just call me Galactus.
Honey, don't you think that this will be confusing if we are both Galactus?
No, it's in the continuity. It'll be fine.
I don't. My friend sent a birthday party invite and it said to Galactus and Galactus.
and Galactus to the second.
We're going to get into a lot of questions about Galactus' love life specifically. With me on the panel, thrilled to be here, Jessica Clemons. She brought both of just let it be known, both
It's Galactus, man.
The life partner of Galactus, the eternal life partner of Galactus, also known as Galactus. It gets confusing, but Jessica also brought. Let's do a quick aside here. Also, Gina Ippolito's here, of course.
Jessica
Miss
is the
H.E.R.B.I.E.
one who bought the popcorn.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to
bucket.
talk about. So Jessica brought in this is a popcorn bucket, and H.E.R.B.I.E over here is actually the drink dispenser. Correct? Or drink receptacle?
It's like a drink food thing, but I don't think you could really put the food or the drink in there. There's compartments for the food for you in the front.
And there's something back here. I think this is where a drink goes.
But the cool thing
Or
is
peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, or peanut. But
And
again,
this
it's just plastic in there, so you're just gonna get your chocolate all over it.
Oh,
I think
it's
it's
gonna
more
gum up
for
Herbie's works.
Yeah, I
He
can't
looks
do that.
he looks incredible though,
Yeah.
and also his face doubles as a projector. He projects a Fantastic Four logo in light. It's very cool. And then
Where do you get one of those?
The AMC theater, the Regal and the Cinemark have different buckets. I think the Regal or Cinemark has a Reed Richards whose arm extends around the popcorn bucket.
fun.
Delightful.
Not as fun as this Galactus one.
No,
but maybe third of the cost.
yes, we were saying. I mean, this Galactus one is so epic.
Yeah.
So incredible. Of course, they had to make the biggest popcorn bucket ever for the biggest
giant. It's
character.
torso size.
You could fit. I mean,
That's just a black hole in there, dude. That's how that
it does. It goes forever.
That's what happens in space.
Yeah, his
You reach
eyes
your
light
hand in
up.
there and it gets spaghettified.
I mean, it's also one of the rare ones like this. You look at this and you're like, I have no idea where a drink or a snack goes. He's got a big old empty head.
Yeah,
it
you
makes
could
sense.
put anything in there.
That could become a planter. That could become
that'd actually be kind of cute if I could make that.
an umbrella stand if you needed one.
Yeah,
whatever.
umbrella stand is good.
An umbrella stand, just put it on the floor.
Yeah. right next to the door. Please leave your umbrella in the Galactus.
Everyone's kicking the hell out of it.
Incredible setups though. Okay, let's get into the movie. First, can we just go cold out of 10?
Oh.
Out of 10 ratings.
Out of
Where is
10.
this for you? I believe Eric Voss gave it 8.8.
Okay.
I want to say
Oh, we're doing
8.7, something
points?
like that. But out of 10, and you can do fractions, you can do whatever you want, and then we'll kind of justify what those numbers are later. But just if you have to, off the top of your head, assign a number.
I'm going 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Okay, very strong.
For Marvel, I'm giving it a straight 10. 10?
Yeah.
For Marvel movies, I'm giving this a 10 in my book.
Go.
And overall, I would give it also probably a 9 or an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's still very high on my list.
Yeah, super high. Yeah.
Great. I think I might like it just a little bit less than you guys, though. I still very much enjoyed it. I'd say an 8. 8 out of 10 for me. Now, the other important question, just because they come out 2 weeks apart, this or Superman?
Man, you know what? I give this a little bit of an edge over Superman. And I really liked Superman, but I think that this movie had like less heavy lifting to do. You only had to focus on 4 characters. You didn't have to know other stuff beforehand. All 4 of those actors are people we've seen in things and love in things, and not shading Corn Sweat and Brosnahan and stuff like that. But this is like, Pedro Pascal has been on our TVs for like nonstop. I think it had a little bit less heavy lifting to do than Superman, so this edged out Superman a little bit.
Superman.
Oh,
I like Superman,
dang.
but I like Superman because I feel like James Gunn was coming as Superman from like a comic perspective.
Yeah.
Where it was like, it's silly, it's very human. Superman isn't smart. Superman is just a clumsy kid from Kansas. And then we got Fantastic Four, where I was like, yeah, it's still really cool. It reminded me of like how, this is not a punch at it at all, but like when we put a stripper pole in like Iron Man's jet and Tony Stark's jet, I was like, it's not cool to be this person. Remember the comics? Like, it's not cool to be this person. These people shouldn't be cool. These people should be like lame-os a little bit. They need to be human. They don't need to be gods. They just need to be human.
They were cool for the 60s, though.
I know, they were gods of the 60s. And I was like, and I love that. And I love it. And I love a mother story more than anything in my life because I love my mom and I love this. And I cried in this. I did not cry in Superman. I cried 2 or 3 times in this movie. But it was just that Superman, I was like, yeah, he's human. I can be Superman, but I can't be a Fantastic Four.
He's an alien, Jess.
I'm also an alien in terms of something. Me and my man.
Yeah.
Me and my
That's
man.
Mrs. Alien to you.
That is actually Mrs. Alien to you, Gina.
That's interesting. I think I would also put Superman just a hair above this.
Wow.
Though again, I really liked both movies. So that's
I just love the aesthetic of this movie.
Yeah,
that's like, I love like look like this like every frame of this was artwork to me. Superman also looked great. It's just I love like the design of Loki, which is the same guy who did them.
Yeah.
God, I just love it. I love that.
We
retro
love a
futurist
vintage.
look.
Yeah, we love a vintage retro futuristic.
I mean,
obsessed.
Producer John and I were talking about the pregnancy test design. The little things in Reed's
to
lab,
detail.
every little object.
The wardrobe. I was gonna like try tweeting and doing everything to find out the stylist because I was like, even the designs for all their different Fantastic Four outfits. I'm obsessed with cosplaying as the one costume versus the main one you see. Pregnant Sue's pregnant Fantastic Four outfit.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to figure out how to design this. It's so beautiful. It's not like a peplum shirt, but it's a longer like dress shirt and her blue and I just like I'm obsessed with it.
I mean, Johnny in the white Levi's with the denim jacket. That's not even, you could pull that off in 2025, right? And you would not look like you're from the 50s. And I'm like, damn, do I need to go buy some white jeans?
You'll mess them up.
They even had Ben Grimm style in. Once he had that beard and he had like, and like Natasha was like, oh, you look very
when he
like.
goes, Ben at the synagogue?
Yes!
He had it on, dude.
I was like, man, he was making these clothes for him.
Their stylists were on point. Even when Sue was like at her worst moment, like just tired, she was wearing a giant blue sweater and a little pink scarf tied around her neck, or a black polka dot. I just remember acknowledging that scarf immediately and being like, it was so unnecessary, but the stylist recognized it.
Even I love that when they get off the ship, when they come back from Galactus, right? She's just had a kid. They're in their Fantastic Four like spacesuits, and she's in like a more sensible like jumpsuit. Because she just had a goddamn baby. Probably spilled stuff all over her outfit. You know what I'm talking about? But I like even that attention to detail. She's just wearing the little flight suit in the back because she's got her baby. Yeah, I mean, there's even moments in the opening montage, and I really want to talk about that first kind of 10, 15 minutes because I think there's a lot to talk about there, where I'm like, is this a Wes Anderson movie?
I mean,
you know
they need to sell. They need to start selling clothes from movies. Like, not obviously. I realize they're custom, like they're tailored to every outfit. They're very expensive. Sell us like knockoff brands of movies.
You gotta go to, what is it here in Burbank? Wrap It Up. That's the production. But they don't get Marvel
Marvel
stuff.
stays that stuff for decades, and then they're like, we'll put it on display at Disneyland.
Also, every crowd shot where there's like 100 people on the street in New York, every single one of them's in a suit with a fedora and
the money that it cost to make this movie based off, because I was even like, every extra has their own like just look, their own features. Even at the beginning when they had the women or as a montage of what they were doing and people being like, this is how great the Fantastic Four was. The first one we see, the black woman, she had this giant purple bright eyeshadow, and then she was the Pan Am woman, and the clothes she was wearing so fitted, I was like, damn, they made sure everybody was right.
I love it.
They said make sure everyone's dressed for it.
It is like a gorgeous movie as far as like all the visual details. I want to talk about that first kind of 15 minutes as we're getting the first Ted Gilbert show montage, right? And we're seeing flashbacks, and we're seeing like, you know, the space ape get punched into the ocean and all those kind of stuff.
I felt bad for that space ape.
It's fine.
He's fine.
That's after kind of like the slower scene where we reveal the pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then we get the boom, bam, boom, 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 quick montage. Boy, that flew by.
Yeah, also like gorgeously edited and
Yeah.
everything too, and doing it in the different style, which like Eric points out in his breakdown, but like was a big WandaVision thing where they would move between like ratios and camera styles, and so you know that you're watching something different. It was just like, it felt like you were watching a retrospective on someone, and it was cool as hell.
It gave them a weight of history. Of
Yeah.
like, even in this universe, they've been around for 4 years. They've obviously had
Yeah.
a huge impact on the world. at
Also
that
great
time.
storytelling. I mean, just economy of storytelling. Like they knew that they couldn't just go into it. Like, cause there would be someone in the audience that would be like, why is he a rock? You know, like, so they were like, well, if you know nothing, we're gonna spend time on it, but we're not gonna do an origin story. It was honestly like brilliant. It honestly like reminded me of, you know, it had its problems, whatever, but the Watchmen movie, the opening sequence in the Watchmen movie where you see famous moments in history and then like each Watchman is like there, like, you know, you see that the comedian is the one who assassinated JFK.
Yeah.
It's like a perfect way to be like, oh, this is a slightly altered history. Superheroes exist. Also, some of them are bad. Like, that's all you need to know. It's like such a gorgeous, go back and rewatch the opening like 2 minutes of Watchmen. Oh, it's like so yummy. I love opening sequences like that.
It's a great opening sequence. The times are changing. I can't listen to that song ever.
I know, without being a Watchmen.
Yeah, without being a Watchmen. Yeah, no, that opening was really good. I also recognized that like that was probably the scene with John Malkovich that they cut out. It was when he kicked the gorilla or kicked the orangutan into the water, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense now why they pulled it out, because then I would have changed my perspective. I wouldn't have been caring about the Fantastic Four. I'm like, oh, there's John Malkovich.
Yeah,
and also it was so quick that there was no talking. So I was like, oh, the only person that's talking is Ted Gilbert doing the narration, or Ben saying like Geronimo when he jumps into the ocean. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we can't have John Malkovich just stopping the montage to talk a minute.
Yeah.
That would disrupt the pace. So I like that attention was so specific to them, because knowing me, I'd been like, that's John Malkovich, I'm keeping it in.
Also, like, it makes sense because, like, they do focus more on Mole Man throughout the movie, and, like, he's also seen in the opening, and so they were probably like, wow.
He's literally just here to get beaten up real quick or
Yeah,
whatever. Maybe
like
it's distracting.
It's too much. Like, I mean, to me, it made sense to be like, let's just focus on Mole Man and have that be the through sort of like villain turns kind of good guy thing. Malkovich, I think would have been too much. That would have pushed it over the 2-hour mark.
Well, and
by like 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell. I think there's been some quotes in the press recently about this film that this was the most like pre-screened Marvel movie I think they've ever made, right?
Yeah.
And so like that can mean a lot of stuff. That can mean they just like were really happy with it and they wanted to show it off. That could also mean like they wanted to keep just tweaking little bits based on early audience feedback. And that first 15 minutes, I mean, even the amount of time it takes us to get to Silver Surfer coming to Earth is short. It'd be interesting to go back and see what the actual runtime is. It can't be much past 25 minutes into the movie. Maybe it's even less, right? Like we really get there and we get the kind of the main Galactus plotline going pretty fast. So I bet like a lot of that feedback was like, you know, maybe the beginning is taking a little long, so they cut.
Hey everybody, it's me, Berg from the chat. When you tune into the break room, you're here for the hosts, and I don't blame you. They're great. But if you look behind me, you'll notice that the break room also has a real primo collection of nerdy ephemera. It helps establish a bit of a vibe, but honestly, we have it mostly just because we love nerdy stuff, and that's why we're excited to be partnering with HW3D this month. HW3D is an Etsy shop that makes awesome, high-quality personalized gifts for the nerd in your life. We love these meticulously crafted nameplates. This one's blending into my shirt a little bit, but you can see it here at Breakroom. They come in the style of your favorite fandoms. They're perfect ways to tell everybody which desk you call dibs on and which fandom you call home. HW3D offers nameplates in the style of The Simpsons. We got a Stranger Things Breakroom nameplate here. We got a Mandalorian nameplate here. They got another one in Game of Thrones and more. Awesome. To get one of your own, click the link in the description or head to hw3dstore.etsy.com and use code Breakroom to get 30% off your order. Again, that's hw3dstore.etsy.com with code Breakroom for 30% off. And thanks to HW3D for sponsoring today's video.
We also, maybe it's worth talking about, other than, our Fantastic Four, our two villains, not a lot of other characters in this movie that get names or get a lot of lines.
Yeah.
But two noteworthy ones, right? You mentioned Mole Man, Paul Walter Hauser, and Natasha Lyonne's character, whose name escapes me right now.
Yeah.
But like, interesting roles within the movie.
Yeah.
Do we feel like there's a version of this movie in which those might have been much larger characters?
Yeah, I definitely think that I definitely think in Natasha Lyonne's case, I actually thought like Paul Walter Hauser sort of getting his hero moment was nice. Like to start out by being like, hey, look, he's like taking down a building and he's a bad guy, and then because it showed that these superheroes are different than those we've seen before. They're not going in and punching him. This is Sue talking to him like she's a true diplomat, and so the fact that then he turns around in the end and he's like, yeah, all the surface dwellers come and be safe in my little lair. I liked his arc. I think it was also just enough of that actor. Like I don't really like, he's fine, like he's not, it's not like, Josh Gad is up in there and I'm like, show less. Like I was just like, this is enough.
Don't get Jessica going on Josh Gad.
What? I hate him. I don't hate Josh Gad. Why would you say that? I don't hate Josh Gad.
One recent sneak peek quote is just in the front of my brain.
What did I say? Now I'm like blanking now.
Didn't you joke that like Mephisto gave him
his
Josh
talent?
Gad his
well,
career?
that's not. I still like him, but that could be two things could be true. You know what I'm saying?
I'll say James Corden instead.
Yeah,
we can all agree that he sucks. Yeah. I think we can all get on board. But yeah, like it was enough Paul Walter Hauser for me. I think if I had one, as you said, nitpick with this, Natasha Lyonne's character doesn't really seem like she's doing that much. I think her storyline was cut down. I think that they were like excited to get her in the MCU, maybe do some more stuff with her down the line. But yeah, and I know why they put it in there. They put it in there to be like, hey, this guy has lost a lot. Like normally he would be back in his neighborhood and he would be an astronaut and he would be like an average-looking superhero.
Might have a girlfriend or a wife.
Right, exactly. And sort of the nostalgia that he feels when he's on Delancey Street would make sense. And this
Delancey Street, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, based on Delancey Street. And yeah, making her a rabbi ties it into his Jewish roots, which are a big deal in the comic. So I get why they put her in there. It just seemed like there was more that was cut out. Like maybe they had like a first date. Maybe he was like, hey, now that the world's gonna end, could I take you for some pasta? Whatever it was.
They probably did. I feel like that was also probably something that looked better on paper. I also think there could have been a world in which Natasha Lyonne was like, yeah, I am interested in Marvel, which seems interesting because it doesn't seem like it's her brand. But why is she doing this and also the voice of Birdie? It doesn't seem like you really had to when you have Poker Face going on. So it does seem like she's more interested to be in the MCU.
Yeah.
But on paper, it probably sounded better because Ben does have that, like, we know Ben for not really liking his appearance and also usually being in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they probably put in on paper, it was like, yeah, he's clearly flirting with this person, but the amount it kind of took me out of the movie was, I think they didn't account for. I think they were like, oh shit, we didn't know it was going to play that heavy. It also didn't like take me out. I love Natasha Lyonne. It was just like, oh yeah, here we go. Because also, if that didn't exist, because this is me doing math. If that scene didn't exist with Natasha Lyonne, how much time would we get with Ben Grimm being Ben Grimm?
That's right.
Because
true.
everybody else
Yeah.
gets their own little arc.
Yeah.
Even Johnny
You're
figuring
right.
out that he
You're
can do the
right.
algorithm. Ben,
Yeah.
and that's on time. Because it's the first point in this movie is family. And then
Yeah.
it is also being a mother. And these two fighting, but also trying to save the world. We also still have Johnny. Oh, he can do the algorithm. What about Ben?
Yeah,
Well,
I will say, like, that's why I think they could have used more Natasha Lyonne. I think the short bits that she was in, it was more distracting by, like, I love when he picks up, the car. It's like, the kids love him. He's their favorite character. You see throughout, the little girl has a doll, everyone. And, like, it makes sense that she's like, yeah, next time, like, really throw it. Like, give him a thrill. I'm like, oh, this is a good... But then, yeah, when he goes and sees her at the temple, like, and synagogue, and she's like, oh, what are you here for? And he's like, I'm here to see you. It felt like there was supposed to be more
Then
to
the
that
scene
scene.
ends.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I will say this. One, maybe you could say criticism of this film that I've seen pop up is like a lot of people wished it was longer. Which what a good criticism. If
Your
you were
brains
ever like,
have been poisoned.
no, but if you're ever like, I loved that movie, I wish I had more of it, that's a
Yeah.
good sign, first off. But it does feel like it's funny that coming on the heels of Superman, there was also right around 2 hours.
Yes.
And we're coming out of an era of like every big movie, including like Fast and Furious movies and like
Yeah.
sillier movies, were all 2.5 hours long.
It's too long. It's too long, guys. In the 80s, movies were an hour and a half.
Okay.
What is that? No, I'm just
I mean, also in the
saying.
50s, they made 4-hour-long epics.
But
so,
I don't think
you know.
anyone is like, I want to not pee for 2.5 hours in a theater.
That's me. I challenge myself.
Yes.
I do it as a
Jessica doesn't drink for like
But
3
I
days
don't.
like
But
beforehand.
I think a 3-hour movie is fine if I don't feel that it's 3 hours. And
Yeah.
I don't know what movie that's been yet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Every year when I get those Oscar screeners, I start by watching the shortest one.
That's
and
a bad,
last
you
year,
gotta start with the longest.
last year the shortest one was like 2 hours
Anora?
and 5 minutes, and the it was probably Anora.
And it won the Best Picture.
And then like
hint,
two,
hint.
2 years ago, it was like Drive My Car, and I was like, how long is
Drive
this
My Car is like
thing?
3.5 hours long.
Like,
Oh my.
I
but-
can't sit.
But like, I will say like something this movie definitely had in common with Superman. These movies move.
Yes,
They
I
are
love a
tight
movie that
movies.
moves. Yeah.
Boom, bam, boom. A lot happens in a short period of time. Like I can't think of like. There's certainly scenes in this movie where it's like after a big action set piece where maybe they kind of slow it down and it's just kind of like the 4 people like having some family time. But I can't think of a scene in which I was like, oh, this is dragging. I didn't have
Yeah.
that feeling of like, let me check my phone. Where are we at in this movie?
Yeah, same.
during
I
this
didn't
movie?
I didn't check my watch. I will also say, I will keep this rant short. I think that like back when TV shows were 22 episodes and movies were 2 hours long, there was a clear, like Brains had a clear delineation between like a movie that's
Yeah.
2 hour long. But now that like you get 4 episodes of a show or 6 episodes of a show, those feel like long movies.
Well, I mean-
and people are like, oh, why can't we get more character
Yes.
development like we did in Andor?
Well, and also like, I mean, the most recent Marvel example, Ironheart, those are longer episodes.
Yeah.
And when you drop 3 at a time, it's literally like watching a movie.
Yeah, and they're doing
right?
the same thing
Yeah.
with Stranger Things. And I think some people go into these movies thinking like, oh, I wanted more character development because they have that brain where they just watched a 6-episode show. And they're like, why can't we spend an hour with this one character and her backstory and this and that? But that's not how movies work. You can't, like, especially ensembles. So we got to get back in that mindset of like,
No,
you know,
that-
separating TVs.
That's a really
shows
good
and
point.
movies.
We've all been Netflix pilled.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been miniseries brained. We got a super chat from Rant Alamore. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Silver Surfer chase scene was the most exhilarating 10 minutes of the whole MCU.
Which one?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I assume you're talking about the chase
wormhole?
out of Galactus'
When
ship
she's
with the
reaching for the
birth.
baby and
Yes,
oh,
I mean
yeah.
what a sequence.
Also, like just the birthing sequence alone, you know, again, like not to crap on other shows, but sometimes, like a lot of times, birthing sequences are gross and hard to watch. Especially if you're watching a Game of Thrones, you're like, is she gonna die? What's happening?
Yes,
like
the
that.
answer is yes. She will die.
Or like The Pit, which I love. They had a birthing sequence where I was like, God,
This is too real.
that's a head out of a vagina. And like this was just like it was like action packed, and also then there's like it's hard and you see the effort on her face, but then there's a baby, and I was like, damn, this is a cool sequence.
They're going at it. Yeah, it was. I really like. Oh, H.E.R.B.I.E was. It's hard. It's so hard. Like it has to be. Sue was my favorite character, but H.E.R.B.I.E was number 2nd. Like,
Yeah,
so
ladies.
close. So close. Number 2. She could have been number 1. H.E.R.B.I.E was the sickest Silver Surfer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was the way that she surfs on lava and she actually moves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've only
Surfing
seen
Johnny's fire wave, I was
Oh.
like, that's
Or
the
when-
fact that
when-
she
how
can
you work
fall
it.
off the board
Yeah.
is what I'm like, oh yeah,
Yes.
give me like practicality. I want to see this girl actually wobble. And
Also,
she does.
great delivery on, and the original Silver Surfer from Rise of the Silver Surfer, who's what's his name? Who plays all? Who's a
Doug Jones.
movement?
Doug
Doug
Jones,
Jones.
yeah.
Which also, by the way, they
WJ.
invited to the premiere, which is so great, and they invited Ewan Gruffin, however you pronounce that name. But like he was that sort of like calm, graceful, and she was like the same. Like she was graceful, but then she's also surfing
She's like,
on
I'm
a
And she's like,
plane.
she's like compact and like physical in a
Yeah,
way that
she's-
is really,
yeah.
you're right, even though she's like a chrome alien character who's all CGI, but there's a reality to it that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That whole sequence. I also love, I think that sequence is a really nice example of like, using the 4 characters and really 5 when you consider Charlotte Ball, but like using their powers. I mean, like the way we could do a whole segment on like how Reed Richards' powers manifest in this movie. I like it's just like just uses his long arm to like brace against the spaceship wall and to like hold his wife down so she doesn't float or whatever.
Yeah.
I like those little details of like they're not. We never got like an incredible style, like he turns his body into a big blanket, or makes a boat.
He turns into a parachute.
Yeah. He didn't do any of that. But there's a lot of like very like practical use of his lengthening, right?
Which
That is
also
cool.
is great because like I think more than any of the powers, his is like kind of useless. Like not useless, like it'd be great. You know, like it is cool to like punch someone across the room, but really his superpower is his intelligence. And I think they show that off way more in the movie than his stretchiness. Also, every scene H.E.R.B.I.E was in, I was like, you know, when they're like, H.E.R.B.I.E do this, H.E.R.B.I do that, I'm like, ooh, this is like just enough H.E.R.B.I and it's great.
When they were like, H.E.R.B.I get some samples, I was like, do not leave H.E.R.B.I there.
I know. I was so
leave H.E.R.B.I
concerned. At the end, when they're like, H.E.R.B.I protect the baby, and he's like, blah, 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 beep, blah, he's like distracting the baby, and then Galactus shows up.
And then he tried to protect the baby with his one little claw.
And he gets like knocked back, and I was like, where is H.E.R.B.I?
My question to the chat. Okay, we see Galactus single scoops out the whole building, right, and gets the baby. We don't see what happens to H.E.R.B.I in that moment. It's been speculated that do the Fantastic Four have a closet full of H.E.R.B.I s.
Oh, no!
Okay, that was the end of that model, but then by the end of the movie, because he's obviously...
I don't think so, only because every time it loves getting its head scratched by Johnny, and I think that's something you learn, not something that's already in.
And I guess we do see the evidence. I love the little tape comes out that's like Earth versus space, right?
Yeah.
He probably has like a babysitter tape or whatever.
I loved his montage that were the same shots, just different corners of the screen.
I mean, I love when he walks in and he's building the crib, and you can tell, and like I feel like every woman in that audience was like, now, why did he tell her to do that?
Hey.
And then she was like, hey, I thought I told you to build the crib. And everyone was like, you did. And poor
Listen,
Ruby's like,
the crib is getting built. What does it matter who built it? I love that. How about just again, not everything needs to be a competition. H.E.R.B.I or Crypto? Who won your hearts the most?
That's
the hard thing because we also saw Crypto almost die. So
we saw H.E.R.B.I almost die.
But a dog being suffocated, a robot can be brought back.
I think I give this a little bit to Crypto mainly because
it's
of the
a
scene
dog.
where he wakes up and like looks at him and he's
And
like,
we have different emotional attachments to dogs than we do to robots.
If I had to choose him over like Griot from Wakanda Forever, I'm gonna choose him. Like over other robots in the MCU, I'd probably choose H.E.R.B.I.
He'd make a top 10 little sidekick list.
Yeah,
in
I
Star
would
Wars,
vote for
he's perfect because he's just a little clumsy and a little all
Very
over
much
the place.
in
if
that
I had
R2
Crypto, I'd be afraid Crypto would kill me.
That is also
Crypto
true.
would kill
like
all of
I
us,
would like
for sure.
Crypto like jumps on your chest in the middle of the night and you're like crack.
You're like, wow, I can't breathe. I think I'm dead.
Crypto, bring me to the hospital. Urgent care.
When the break room first started, we shot it in our actual break room where we would record episodes in between, throwing down some food. We were always so busy and on the go. And you know what? A lot of that food, I can attest, was not very good. Bad leftovers, other weird food we slapped together. But now that we're sponsored by Factor, quick meals are also great meals. Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating deliciously and eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab and go snacks, and more add-ons. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. You get to skip all the shopping and chopping and instead get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. Factor meals are always fresh, never frozen, and there are over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie. I'm a breakfast for every meal kind of guy. So for lunch the other day, I had a potato, bacon, and egg breakfast skillet. Super filling, those crispy little bacon bits were really good, and the potatoes and the eggs and the sharp cheddar cheese just kind of made everything come together real nice. Truly delicious. Hit the spot, and it was ready in only 2 minutes. Get started at factormeals.com/breakroom50off and use code breakroom50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code breakroom50off at factormeals.com/breakroom50off for 50% off plus free shipping. factormeals.com/breakroom50off. real quick, I want to talk about Galactus, and then I want to kind of get into the ending of this movie and the post-credit scene, because I think there's a lot of questions about that, and we've got some good super chats. But in addition to being a great model for a great popcorn bucket, how do we feel about Galactus as portrayed in Fantastic Four?
I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with it. This goes without saying. You guys know I'm a freak for these kind of people. People, creatures, gods, whatever. I'm into it. By look, 100% into it. But as a Marvel fan, without any romantic attraction to, I think it's perfect. I love the fact that he is like powered by this lava that's in his core. I wish we would have I wanted to see him actually consume a planet. Not like I like that the ship breaks it down, but I want to see him consume that.
Wait, don't
down.
we see a planet or don't we see
The machine breaks it down? And then I think what I
That's what
assumed
those
was
tubes
the
are,
tubes
right?
as it goes into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But I wanted to see him consume
literally
the debris.
just Cookie Monster.
To literally Cookie Monster the debris.
And one thing I appreciated about the Galactus portrayal, they don't over-explain a lot.
Right.
They kind of brush it off of
Yeah.
Even the Fantastic Four doesn't fully understand everything,
Yeah.
and I like
no
that.
one's like, why is he so big?
Keep it.
How is he big? Like
Keep it
that?
somewhat mysterious. That makes it a little scarier. Also,
Why is
once
he hungry?
yeah, once you get into the minute detail, it never hits as hard. Once you
Yeah,
start
yeah,
doing
yeah.
the
You
midichlorians
can't-
of
you
it,
can't
I don't want that.
over-explain
And that was the insane part that I really did enjoy in that script was the simple answer of like, I just don't know, because his existence predates ours.
Yeah.
And like I don't have technology that can even read what he is.
Yeah.
It was just so simple to be like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't have a solution.
I don't think anyone left that movie being like, they didn't explain enough about Galactus.
No.
Tell me who's his brother?
Just let it be like the Lovecraftian Cthulhu kind
Yeah,
of vibe.
yeah.
We don't know who he is.
I
We don't
also
know.
Yeah.
now I want to talk about the CGI of it, but also I did think the dialogue that they gave him. He maybe has 10 lines in the
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
but man, they gave him some cooker lines.
Also, I think it's a testament to like how good Einison is, because like there were some lines that like my favorite when he said like clever little bugs. I was like, oh my god, the delivery on that is so good.
I think he's only meant to be like a horrible, mean-spirited person in movies. Because in The Witch, as the dad, him being like, repent for what you did, even though I was the one that caused everything to go bad.
But I also think like part of his genius is at some point you're kind of like, oh, like, because when he's like, oh, this baby will be my salvation, it seems like he just wants to die. Like he just wants to stop being hungry and die. And you feel kind of like, oh, how?
That's what I love, like this description of he's cursed with this hunger.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes people have a little pushback on when every villain is not allowed to just be evil, right? Like everybody is justified in their actions. They're just going about it the wrong way. But I thought in this case it really worked.
It did.
Of not to say he's a good guy who's just trapped in this hunger curse.
Yeah.
But it does give a little bit more shape to the character. And do you think he wants to pass it along to Franklin is obviously a big motivation in this, because Franklin has the potential to basically be the next
absorb
Galactus or
it
something
and-
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And there's a little desire for fatherhood there. Maybe there's also a desire to be
interesting.
unburdened, right? Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
He'll be burdened with my curse and then I will be free.
Yeah,
That is cool, weighty stuff.
Yeah, I think like the pivot away from just like pure villain mustache twirling, I don't even think giving him something to feel sorry for him about takes away from his villainy, because he's still, you see with the Silver Surfer, like she chose this thing for a selfless purpose, but also in the process doomed thousands of other planets. Not getting why he's like this. Maybe he made a deal. Maybe we know from the comics, but we don't know this character. I think it doesn't diminish him as a villain. I think it just makes him more like a richer soup.
A richer soup, which we didn't get to see him eat, but I wish we did. A richer
You can fill him with soup right now.
that is true. I think it will melt it, and then I can't kiss the lips anymore.
You could have an entire family of soup inside that head.
Good soup. Good head.
Maybe before, good head. Before we move on from Galactus and his good head, he gets kicked through the portal at the end or pushed, whatever. Him and Shellaball both go through that portal. He's out there somewhere. He's not gone. He's not dead. When do we see Galactus next, do you think?
Good question.
I don't know if it's true, but I want it to be in Doomsday. Because I just think the idea of you know how disastrous Doomsday will be if they all get there and they see Galactus is also there, but he also has the same limitations that they all have. He's in the same ballpark as all of them. And maybe physically he could help them, but he just chooses not to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fun. I know that in like the old Secret Wars, it was just so funny to see giant Galactus there and then crash down and die. And it would be like, oh, I guess Galactus isn't helpful or scary in this world where everything's been taken apart. I really hope it is, and
I mean, it would be pretty badass if they like go into this universe and the first thing they see is Galactus's corpse, and they're like, "Oh crap!
Yeah.
We're out of our league! We're out of our league!"
It simply tells you just how dangerous it is. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that thing that literally ate 12 planets that we saw of? Oh no.
He's such a great character because, like, he could also, we could see a world where we know Fantastic Four are going to be in Doomsday and presumably Secret Wars. At some point, we assume, rightly or wrongly, we'll get another Fantastic Four movie,
Hopefully,
a standalone movie on the other side of Secret Wars. And maybe we assume that is set back in this universe, the 828 that this world was. I mean, he still exists. He's on the other side of the galaxy or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's still in the 828 somewhere, we think, right?
Even if it takes him a million years, he's still gonna get back there.
Yeah.
And you know, we can be in doing anything, and like we just need those eyes to start glowing in the distance.
Yeah.
And you get the shiver up your spine. I thought it was a great. It's not an easy character to portray in film, as we've seen in two other versions.
I mean, in one he was a fart cloud. In the other ones they didn't even try.
Yeah.
And this was the first one where they were like, what if we just make him a giant and
you
cast a
pull it
great
off.
actor?
I will say, like, I was talking to producer John about this. You know, the face beyond the mask definitely looks like Ralph Ineson.
Yeah.
And like, and in his voice, even though they do some effects to his voice sounds like he's a space giant.
Yeah.
Naturally
Already.
it does.
Yeah.
I love that they made Galactus, which I always love this because it always throws me off. He's British. Galactus, this ancient god, this could be deity, is British.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just like the only scene they cut was like him sitting at home and watching Monty Python's Flying Circus, and he was like, "Hello, hello, hello," and then that's how he adopted
He asked
the voice.
for them to bring back Monty Python.
I think it was one of the few details that Eric didn't find in the breakdown, but there was a 1,000-gallon teacup right off screen too. Okay,
I love a good Brit.
I want to get to the end of the movie, and I feel like it's where the most questions about the future are coming from. We're getting a lot of really good super chats. I'm just going to speed run 3 or 4 of these, and then we can kind of react. Dio Expo sent in a super chat. What if that really is Tony Stark behind the Doctor Doom mask because of his scars from snapping his fingers in Endgame?
Okay.
Okay, put a pin in that. That's interesting. Mostly superheroes sending in a super chat question. It looks to me that Thunderbolt's end credit scene will not be answered until Secret Wars.
Okay.
Do you agree, disagree, or have a different theory? I disagree, and we'll get to that in a moment. And then MCBBY, also sending a super chat. I loved the movie, but as a huge MCU fan, I had a sour taste from the post-credit scene.
I think
Couldn't they have
everyone
given us
did.
something like Thunderbolts? So I think, and there's some other variations on this.
Is that a real complaint?
How many?
That I got in my theater, it was a large groan, and I think what they should have done is switched it so the Doom one was the real post credit, the cartoon was like the mid credit.
Man, y'all want
They
instant
were-
gratification.
Oh, look,
Because
I
you're
was
saying
here
that
for
the
it.
cartoon one got a groan. And
Yeah.
the
That one got a
cartoon.
groan. They wanted something. They thought that the Doom one was okay. We all suspected
I think
it.
everyone should
and then
watch
they wanted
Eric's-
something bigger at the end.
I think everyone needs to watch Eric's breakdown of that because I think there was more to it than people.
I think
people
it's-
assume.
There was, and I think maybe we all, I'll just speak for myself. I had maybe too high an expectation of what they're going to
What
give
did
us
you
in this
guys
post.
think it was
Only
gonna be?
because
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, and this was kind of a first in a while, but it was a full scene. It was like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And where we get the characters, and then it ends with this tease of Fantastic Four. Cool. I guess maybe I was expecting, this will be a continuation of that, in that, like, we'll see the other side of it. We'll see them on the ship, or we'll see whatever. Now, I think, like, just giving us the tiniest hint of Doom, and I have a theory about that, like, and then cutting to black is perfect.
I mean, I think they did what they've been doing, which also, not to keep harping on this, but keep in mind that like when Iron Man, like when all of those started, those post-credit scenes were short. Like, it was like Thanos turning around and saying one line. Like,
They were also
short.
like actual clips from the movies.
Like, and like, you know, this new sort of thing of like, oh, you get a full scene, that is relatively new. But I will say what isn't new is like they give you one juicy thing and one comedic scene, which they did do for Thunderbolts. It's him it's
Wheaties
Alexi
box,
in the in the grocery store, and that's a funny scene that
Pizza
has nothing
Papa
to do with
always
anything.
gets paid.
Pizza
Yeah.
Papa, and then another like juicy scene where they're like, "Oh, Fantastic Four ship," and I think that's exactly what they did here. When I saw that Doom scene, I knew that the next one was going to be something that was sort of fluff.
I think it was just that the Doom one wasn't surprising to them. I think that even because
My theater was like, oh,
you were in the critic one,
right?
I was in the people.
Yeah.
And but like the people that paid without the AMC pass, these are people that paid out of pocket. Because it was the fan event that we'll get onto that later. Why I'm mad about AMC doing that. But it was like, I think it was, because we're so locked into what's happening currently, we knew that it was like, Doom's not in the movie.
Yeah.
Matt Shackman was like, I did not do anything with Doom. So
Yeah.
the Russos probably did this post-credit scene. And so I was only expecting Doom in the post-credit scene. I didn't even need to see the face. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just assuming it's going to be Doom.
Yeah.
And then it was. And I was like, okay, it delivered what I needed because I expected this. But I think everyone thought that Doom was going to actually end up being in the Fantastic Four. And then he didn't show up. And then this is what we got. And it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
This is what I'm just assuming also. Because the groan after the cartoon was so loud in my theater that it made people
I fucking love the
act
cartoon.
crazy.
I don't care. I love the cartoon. I thought it like paid homage to like the era of the 60s, which, you know, I think some people might have been like, oh, I kind of miss the campy tone of like the Tim Story version and blah, 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 blah. And I think this delivered on that. I also think it was packed with Easter eggs. Like, I think people are expecting too much of post-credit scenes. The movie was like almost perfect. So
Yeah.
for the post-credit scene to like ruin it for you, that's insane.
And to that point, Gina, it's like if you're expecting the post credits to be so good, maybe they should just be scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly, exactly.
And here's my little conspiracy theory. I both worked for me. I was totally fine with both, and I like the cut to quick black the second you see the little silver mask, and I like the danger of him with Franklin. That's very intriguing. Oh, that's what he's after. My conspiracy theory is the reason we don't see a face there is because it would have cost him a couple $1 million to get old RDJ to make another
that's
appearance.
not a conspiracy theory. That's
Yeah.
accurate.
Even
Like-
just having a stand-in in a hood is $500. Having Robert Downey Jr. in a hood,
Just show
$5
up for a
million
day to shoot something that's
Yeah.
not on. Because this is also the Fantastic Four set. So they're not shooting. It's like, no, this is a different day.
Yeah.
They're not shooting Robert Downey Jr. this day.
Also, it's like it would be such a nightmare to even get him. Like, who knows where he is right now? Like when they were filming this, there's no reason to have him for what. And yes, they would have had to pay him several $1 million to appear.
No, I agree. I was gonna say, and even though it's probably the Russos doing it, it definitely it came out for this. So it's like it was shot ages ago. It was shot a while ago.
But I will say, like, you know, we were talking about this beforehand. One of the theories that I've seen online is that the way you get to the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, which, you know, Thunderbolts was so recently, so I don't need answers to that right away. But someone was like, there's a theory online that in that ship in Thunderbolts, it's actually Doom with Baby Franklin. He steals Baby Franklin. He steals the Excelsior ship and then goes into a different dimension. That's how he gets to that Thunderbolts dimension. And then the Fantastic Four are going to eventually follow and be like, has anyone seen our baby? Like,
Yes.
he's with a guy with a medal.
I guess that pivots to like what I think has been the biggest question coming out of this movie. Like, when do we see the other side of, or do we see the other side of that Thunderbolts post-credit and this Fantastic Four mid-credit, right? Like, does Doomsday begin with the Thunderbolts walking up to that ship? Does Doomsday begin with, Sue Storm in her apartment looking around and like, he took my son or something like that? Or do you think we just jump way ahead past both of these? Those are just little teases and Doomsday will begin.
I mean, I would not mind if they never really fully answer it, or if they just allude to it and say like this thing happened. It like this whole discourse sort of reminds me of like when Lost was a thing and people were like, we saw that one scene and they never definitively answered what the other side of that, like we saw people getting shot at in a boat, who was shooting at them, and it's like, who cares? Like, do you need every single thing answered?
Yes.
I do think like the Thunderbolt scene is big enough that they will answer it, and but I don't know if we need to see it. I think that they can just say like, hey, a man and a baby just crashed on this earth. Or like they could be like, hey, there's some people that say like they accidentally shot a world eater to our dimension and we should be concerned. Whatever it is, I do think that we'll see, we will get answers, but I don't think people should be.
I've got some more super chats that are kind of touching on some of these end credits.
Yeah.
So our person Dio Expo coming back. Sue Storm's face really seemed as if she knew Doctor Doom as she came around the fireplace she created into a fireplace when they blew up the TV. Well, here's what I'll say. I don't know if she recognized the person. I think she's freaked out that there's somebody touching her son in the middle of her living room.
Touching the man's face.
Yes.
Also,
keep in mind that he has the mask off, but the baby's like, "Oh, I'm interested." It's fine. You're
also, we clearly see a chair, one of the chairs is labeled Latveria. So it wouldn't be crazy for her to be like, this is that asshole who refused to power down his nukes when the rest of the world did it.
Of course, there's a very prominent Easter egg earlier in the film as they're kind of panning through the Future Foundation headquarters, and you see 2 empty chairs labeled Latveria. And so some assumptions one could make there, right? Like, yeah, that's Dr. Doom's home country or whatever. That's Doom. And Doom has been invited, but chose not to attend this peace summit. I like the 2 chairs too. There is that who's in that second chair? Is that somebody joked that's just for his mask? He sits out there. I think we can assume until we're given further information that is a Dr. Doom from the 828 universe. That is, he is the king of Latveria or whatever. And maybe she has interacted with him at some point.
He's like, hey, Sue, I didn't make the baby.
Maybe he's not an evil villain in her mind yet, but it is still creepy that he's in her living room.
He's always been planning something. But also, it's the fact that, like, everybody in the world now knows how special this baby is. And he's like, well, I'm going to go get my hands on that baby, and we're going to open portals to just go everywhere.
He's like, I need to squeeze the magic out of
that
the baby.
That baby is going to replace Molecule Man for Secret Wars. And it'll just become the, unfortunately, you got to kill that baby.
I think it's baby MacGuffin. I think like that baby might be the drink, what's it, the drink that stirs the drink? No, anyway.
I'm sure that Doom has created like some sort of tank,
baby draining device.
Yeah, baby draining device that like just siphons the baby's powers every time they use it.
It's
like a blood boy from Fury Road, right? But you just tap into him. Okay. There's some fun super chats here. Arumidin, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, sending in a super chat. Love the movie. Had a tiny nitpick as a linguist.
Ooh.
Johnny translating the entire language from only one phrase is impossible.
It's impossible. No, 100%.
I like that. But also, didn't he... Yeah.
He had other recordings, but that was the only one that they knew the English of.
And the plus side is this is a universe where rock people are walking around.
Fair nitpick. I also, in the moment...
But I understand why.
I was like, they could have given him like a brochure from that planet or something to justify it.
He said, I figured out the entire alphabet. She said, I see you later, and I figured out the entire
Yeah, it was wild. C Black saying, how many times you watching Fantastic Four in theaters?
I'm gonna see it like at least. I'm gonna see it one more time for sure.
You frequently rewatch movies in
No,
theaters.
I don't.
Or movies you like. I know you're not above watching them multiple times.
Maybe I saw Sinners 5 times.
Did
Jessica single-handedly keeping the movie.
Yeah, I'm the only way. I'm the one keeping.
How many times did you watch Thunderbolts or Superman?
Superman, I saw 3 times.
Wow.
Do you think
you get Sinners every time
you think you might see Fantastic Four? Will you see Fantastic Four fewer or more times than you saw?
I'm gonna see it another time. I know I'm gonna see it at least one more time. And the reason I'm gonna see it one more time is it's just the motherhood of it all. The way Vanessa Kirby is an extremely talented actress that I've never seen in anything else because I'm a horrible person that doesn't watch Fast and Furious.
Listen, Mission Impossible. In The Crown.
I said.
She might be in that too. I'm not watching those either.
Fast and Furious has 8,000 actors in it. But no, it's not crazy to not have seen either of those.
And the way she reacts is so good and authentic. And I don't even know if Matt Shackman was like in the direction or if it was in the script. But the way that she's fighting with Reed and recognizes that he is correct, but it shouldn't be the way he's thinking. And in terms of when she's like, I know we have to use our baby as bait, but why would I ever want to use my baby as bait? And she goes invisible screaming at him. I was like, whoa, this is so visceral. I was like, this is visceral. In the way that she gave birth was like the same emotion she gave when pushing him into that black hole or the portal that they made. And I was like, that killed her. But at the beginning, it brought her new life. So, and now it brought her new life from the new life. And so I'm probably going to watch it again just to diagnose the motherhood aspect.
Yeah, she pushed him back into the birthing canal.
Yeah, she took him back in there, and he came out, and then thank God you get a second hand.
Ultimately, obviously, it's a Fantastic Four movie, but like, it's kind of a Sue Storm movie.
It is a Sue Storm movie.
Yes, and this is what I'll say. Like, you know, I was the one who helped write the breakdowns of the original 3 movies, the 2 Tim Story ones, the Josh Trank disaster, and they were, I liked them varying levels, but she was always done so dirty, especially in the Josh Trank version where she doesn't even get to go and get the powers. The only reason is like she stays home in the lab because the boys want to be boys and the boys want to take a boys trip. I'm telling you, this is what the movie is. And then when they come back, she's like, hey, what's going on in that lab? I hope the boys aren't being boys. And then she like gets hit with like some powers and then she turns invisible. She doesn't even get to party with the boys. And in the Tim Story version, there's so many like, what if when she turns visible again, her clothes are gone? And then the crowd is like,
look at Jessica Alba's hot body.
Yeah, exactly. And both women on both films were notoriously mistreated. Like Jessica Alba had the whole thing where she was like, Tim Story told me he didn't want me to cry because women crying is ugly. And like he didn't want her, and she was like, but I'm acting. And he's like, well, it's hideous. Stop. So anyway, in both of those versions with those directors, it was terrible. And I loved seeing her be sort of the linchpin of this movie. Like the most capable from a standpoint of being the most fully formed. Because even though Reed is the smartest, he obviously has things he's working through. And Johnny is like kind of emotionally stunted. And Ben is working through his, and she's just like, all right, well, I guess I got to run a foundation, be a mom, give birth in space, and then save the day and sacrifice myself. And I was just like, ooh, she's finally getting her due. And I loved it.
Yeah. She was beautiful. I think she is a star. Mm-hmm. She is a star. She's the focal point. Even in like the story, she's like, they all have helping hands, but she's the one doing the peace treaties and agreements with every nation. She's the leading person politically and on the ground, and she's the mom. Yeah. Not even of like Franklin Richards of the group. You guys are like sometimes being silly and stupid. You can't put a car seat in, 3 of you. But like it's and so
they're hard, by the way. They're hard.
That was actually a very accurate depiction of car seat installation. I could speak to that. I liked that bit, that final car seat bit worked.
To you as a
that
parent.
was good.
You're like, that's me.
That was well
every
researched.
time I'm with my nieces and nephews, I'm like, it's fine. And my mom's like, no,
don't
it needs to be a specific way.
I need 3 people to do it.
I want some. I want to
run through
some. Feel free to interrupt me, but there's some really good super chats and other chats here. Omar Allure saying, "Do you want Galactus to return? Maybe he was accidentally transported to another universe." I think we kind of touched on that. Mm-hmm. If he is either still in that universe and we get to spend more time with him in the future, or if he gets sent to the 616, I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I also think he still needs a herald to find the planets that he can consume. Or that will, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll watch Eric's breakdown. Maybe it discusses
Jessica's offering to be his herald.
Eat me. But no, sorry. I forgot that we're live. But I forgot to read the room before I said that joke. But I don't know if she finds him planets that bring him the most nutrients, or if she just finds planets that are viable, or planets that are like, oh, I feel less bad if you destroy these ones over the other ones. So I don't know how he's sourcing planets. Maybe he was at one point being like, yeah, I just go through it eating whatever I find.
Yeah. And
I was eating a bunch of stars by accident.
Could you find me something that's grass-fed and organic, please?
After he smelled the soil, he went, I want more.
Yes.
Well, and I have to imagine he's probably not too excited to work with Shia anymore, so maybe that opens the door to a Nor and Rad.
Nor and Rad,
Yes. Adita NYS saying in, New York Battle felt parallel to Avengers 1. Loved it. I agree. There were some vibes there.
Yeah.
Floyd Rogers. Both movies feel like they're ripped straight from the comics. As you were talking about Superman and Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four edges Superman for me. I think it's because my wife just gave birth a month ago.
Oh,
hey,
congrats.
congratulations, Floyd Rogers. Gary saying, I think people tend to grade DC films on a curve. Now,
interesting.
grading on a curve could mean that we are overrating, or it could also mean we are underrating.
No, I think he's saying like people their expectations are lower. I would agree. You know, when I see a DC movie, I think I would agree that I don't my expectations are not quite as high. I will say my expectations for Superman, because it was James Gunn,
was extremely high.
were extremely high. And I think we'll get there again. I think that people will be like, well, James Gunn always does good work.
My expectations for Superman, that curve did not exist.
Yeah.
I was like, it's way higher than Fantastic Four. I was like, I know what we're getting in Fantastic Four. And I mean, was I surprised? No. Because I was like, look at these amazing actors. They've worked on it so long, and I think Marvel recognized they had to they had to land. They had
but
to
I
eat
agree,
with this
like
movie.
when you see The Flash or when you see Aquaman, you're like, as long as it's not terrible, it's fine.
When I saw the first Wonder Woman, I was like, I have zero expectations. And then I was like, oh my god, I love this movie.
Yeah, same. Love the first Wonder Woman.
On this note of just comparing these two films, now I don't believe I could read this person's username out loud, but they did say, glad the Fantastic Four didn't need to be saved by a dog twice. Damn. I think we know what side of the fence you stand on.
Yeah.
C-Bot coming back. Sue Storm was a 10 out of 10.
He's implying that Crypto is the only good thing about the movie, I'm
Or
assuming.
that
Well,
he
what was
saved
the second
Superman
dog?
twice.
Oh, he saved Superman twice.
There were a couple of those.
No, it was just a baby.
D'Lo Expo saying, I like how they used the comic story of Johnny being separated from his girlfriend by having Shia LaBeouf sacrifice herself. So there's kind of some parallels there. Noting Shaw saying, how would you rate Fantastic Four post-Endgame? That might be a lot, but how about...
That's not fair, because post Endgame, I'm still gonna give it a 10.
So many movies. I guess they're saying like
where
rank
does
it amongst...
For me, it's, I mean, I can't remember every movie post Endgame, like just off the top of my head, but it's top 3 for me. I really loved it. And I also just think it kicked off like a new sort of, like this really felt like a new era of Marvel to me.
It's,
I guess we have to...
Post Endgame that's hard. That's hard because it's like,
we should get out the boards on a future,
I mean,
on
that's
future Breakroom and rank all
Black
of
Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, that's No Way Home, that's Multiverse of Madness, that's
Wakanda
Deadpool,
Forever.
Wakanda Forever, Guardians 3,
Yeah.
Deadpool, Wolverine.
That's why I said it's hard. It's probably
It
number
is.
1.
And like,
Like, it's not
some of those
fair.
movies are so different, but I think it's high. I'd say like, there's definitely top half of MCU for me, and like maybe you could make an argument top quarter. You know, I don't know.
Of all MCU,
it'll take some time. I'll need to let it wash over me for a little bit. To,
See how it ages.
Flitz on Twitch saying, as a big Jean Grey fan, I hope Marvel Studios give friend of the channel Matt Shackman an X-Men movie just because of what he did with Wanda and Sue.
Yeah.
Also in the breakdown video, Eric thought the person he thought to be Claw, I think was actually a Doombot from the animated 94 series, which I watched.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay, interesting point. I do think it would be interesting. You know, Jake Schreier makes Thunderbolts. Marvel's happy with it. They give him an X-Men movie. Date to be determined. It'll be interesting to see. Matt Shackman's now done 2 Marvel projects.
Yeah.
We assume he'd be down to do more. It'll be interesting if they announce.
I think he has a choice. I also think they can be. I think they are playing in his court. It's like Ryan Coogler. It's like, we want you back no matter what.
He'll
be like, I'll come when I'm ready.
But I do agree that he's great at especially complex female characters.
He is.
And I think when you find that, especially in the superhero genre, I think you gotta cling on to that for dear life.
You do.
So you don't get another Josh Trank.
Okay.
Come
on the show and defend yourself, Josh Trank.
No, don't come on the show. I don't want you.
C Black saying Sue Storm was a 10 out of 10. Agreed. Spidey Sensei 72.
Hi, Spidey Sensei.
Gina, will you guys be reviewing the new Red Sonja movie coming out since she's a Marvel character?
I think maybe you tweeted this at us, Spidey Sensei, or someone else did. I don't know. I think with anything on this channel, if there's a big enough buzz, a big enough word of mouth, we're happy to like talk about pretty much anything.
Yes.
Like as you saw with our Severance footage, which isn't normal for our channel, but season 1 had so much hype, season 2 had so much hype that we were like, yeah, we got to talk about this. So if there's a lot of hype for Red Sonja, I've seen a little bit of hype, but I think maybe once a trailer, like an official trailer is released, we'll have a better handle on it.
Agreed. Okay. Meg510 saying, it didn't say Herbie will return for Doomsday.
No, Meg!
I think we can assume when they say Fantastic Four, I know it's only 4, but like we assume that. Jack Johnston sending in a super chat. The 4-year jump is exciting because we don't know how advanced Franklin is with his powers going into Doomsday.
Yeah.
Galactus on-screen presence was epic. Agreed. Yeah.
And showing that book, like, I think the way that they teased, like, was it like Darwin's
Evolution of the species.
Evolution of the Species? Like, it was like, oh, another nighttime book, and it's like, oh, he already ripped through that, and probably was like, he was wrong about some stuff.
So 4-year-olds can't read, or normal 4-year-olds can't read. So it's like clearly he's advanced. Also, that is the thing about evolution, often associated with mutants evolving, whatever. Is that hinting at him being a mutant? I like that. The 4-year time jump.
I was just stuck on that too. I was like, 4-year-olds can read.
Well, I couldn't read when I was 4. I guess there's
girls advance faster than boys. Don't feel bad.
Fair play. I still can't read. But the 4-year time jump is really fascinating because they could have easily said 4 weeks later.
Right.
They chose to have that be a decent time gap. Now, maybe that's because they didn't want an infant playing a character in Doomsday.
I think that 4-year-old is going to be in Doomsday. Like, it's easier to just say 4 years, have that 4-year-old, and that 4-year-old's going to be carried throughout the next
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it allows, like, maybe he is advanced in his powers. Their knowledge of his powers is advanced. Also, and this is another kind of moment here, CERB64 sending out a super chat. Do you think the Council of Reeds was created within the 4-year jump? Sending Galactus randomly somewhere could have had implications. Yeah, a lot could have happened in the Fantastic Four universe. That's doubling their time as a hero group. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
I think, like, especially because they established in the movie that Reed is always thinking of the worst case scenario. Yeah. And he's probably at this point like, crap, where did I send Galactus? Did I just doom another world? Also, what if he gets back faster than I expect? I think it's safe to say he's been focused on this Galactus problem. It's not like he like sent him through and then was like, well, there we go. I won't think of that ever again. Goodbye, giant man.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think the Franklin and how that plays and like what they're going to do with that character, I think is going to be a big impact. And on that note, C Black saying in a YouTube super chat, should the Fantastic Four lead Doomsday? I think they kind of are. I think like we've heard some stuff in the press that it's like Doom and Reed are kind of like two of the main protagonists. I think obviously there's 1,000 other characters in the movie, and so like I don't think anybody's really going to be a lead. But I think they're going to play a really big role.
Yeah, I do too. It's hard though because people want so many different people service. Like if you underservice the X-Men, who we also know are going to be in the movie, I think people are going to be like, "Hey, what the hell?
There's only so much those two can physically do."
And
there's a decent chance that like an Alan Cumming or a Rebecca Romaine literally has a line in the movie.
And then dies. That's
We've also, there've been some reports recently that like actually Thor is kind of like one of the main leads of Doomsday. Oh. Maybe he's kind of...
Check Chris Hemsworth's steroid delivery. If he's bulking up, we know that it's true.
Allegedly.
That's everyone right now with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, allegedly.
Oh my God. The smashing
There's
machine.
nothing alleged about that.
There's no alleged.
Bicep is the same size
There's
as
only so much the human body can do.
That man sneezes and Diana Ball comes out.
Dude,
okay?
no way.
But that's a separate episode of the Breakroom. I'm really intrigued. I think this movie, just to wrap up, and we'll give kind of some final thoughts, some final things we liked, maybe if we didn't get to touch on them. But like, this movie, and your preferences will probably vary. I don't think this will be like a universally beloved. I don't know that like everybody will be like, this is my number one new. I think there may be some people with certain tastes that might find some issues with this movie, but I think in general more works than not. And I think it does a really good job of like establishing a new mini franchise within the MCU. I want to go back to this world.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I will say like this has. I mean, I'm always hyped for whatever, movie is coming. I mean, everyone who watches The Breakroom knows that I'm the Paula Abdul of this show. I'm like, I liked it. But I did really like it, and it got me even more hyped for Doomsday, for Secret Wars, and beyond that. Because to me, this cast and all the people who made this movie could carry the MCU like through this next phase, and I would be very happy with that.
Yeah.
I think they're taking their chickens, their eggs, and putting them in good baskets because I like that I always yell about how it's a shared universe, and I want to see it actually be a shared universe when you have your TV series that take place in the same spots as your movies. But I do like going in the direction where there actually is different universes for different characters. So having Deadpool in a different universe, having Fantastic Four in a different universe, and then still having the 616 just gives us more movies with these individual people. And then the post-credit scene could be that crazy one you want where, whoa, Reed comes out of nowhere and Spider-Man, like that. Then you'll still get it. I think they recognize, if we pull back a little bit, we can like curb the expectations. And I like having just different universes. Make them different universes now.
Plus, you don't have to
way.
worry so much about like how does this affect
Less.
Like where's Secret Invasion? How does this affect the larger universe? Like if you like we didn't have to see this movie and be like, how does this tie into this and blah 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 blah. Like it's just a good movie that you can watch and be satisfied by, and they don't have to release a list of 10 things you have to see before you watch this movie. Even though we all watch them, obviously.
To put it in Kevin Feige's terms, no homework required.
Exactly.
Right?
No homework
exactly.
Yes, not that we support homework here, and in fact, our entire channel is built on homework. So, but agreed. Probably coming up on the break room now. Barring, we're thinking this is going to be a sleepy San Diego Comic-Con this weekend. If it's not, we'll be reacting to that on Monday. Otherwise, we'll probably do a fuller Q&A, lingering questions, a Fantastic Four episode on Monday. We'll be back to kind of our normal break room, regularly scheduled programming. We thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, the post-credit scene and the breakdown are live on the new Rockstars channel.
Clear your afternoon.
That's right. The breakdown is almost as long as the movie.
Eric found a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot in there.
Nobody will be leaving that breakdown being like, I wish it was longer.
Someone will. There'll be one guy.
It's full of good stuff. And there'll be other great content coming out on the New Rockstars channel, of course, and the Breakroom channel. We thank you so much for watching. I would love to give you the burden of my hunger. I don't know. I was trying to think of a good. What's the best?
We forgot to show off our T-shirts.
Yes, I'm wearing a Future Foundation shirt. Gina's got the fantastic bricks.
I posted a picture of myself and got a lot of people being like, "Ooh, that's cute." And this one's a crop. I won't show you my belly, but it's a little crop. But we have it in regular.
Yes, in regular, long sleeve, maybe even. Check out some of the Fantastic Four inspired designs over at nerdriot.shop. Also, we want to plug this this 3D printed kind of cool. It's the Breakroom in the Fantastic Four font. Also, you can see kind of over Gina's shoulder that yellow Breakroom sign. These are both made by an Etsy store that custom made these. They also did a Breakroom one in the style of the Mandalorian font and in the style of the Stranger Things font. They do all these cool kind of nerd IP fonts, printing out like nameplates. You can get your own name, your family name, your business name, whatever like that. We'll post a link in the description to their store. Go check them out. They do really cool work. We just got this in today. Perfect timing. Look at that.
And if you get one of the popcorn buckets, let us know.
Yes. Fill it. Take a picture of yourself. Fill it with popcorn.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me about those plugs, Gina. And thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.